and Jai Masters. There's a very definite turning point in your growth where before it, you're trying to not go down, not have problems, not feel loss, lack, etc. Trying to compensate for the fact that you're not okay in there. When you cross this crossing point, which we're going to discuss tonight, it's not like that anymore, ever. It's more like it's really nice and it keeps getting nicer. So everything you're doing in the first part is to try to be okay. In the second part, it's you're totally okay, and you realize that what you thought was okay yesterday was nothing compared to what you're experiencing today. It's called the ascent. And it keeps going up. Just like in the first part, it keeps going down. Things happen, they disturb you, people leave you, people die, people lie, people do all kinds of things. People do lots of things. And it disturbs you. And so you try to not be disturbed. That's the benchmark of the first part. I'm trying to not be disturbed, and I'm trying to have some good moments, some rushes, some highs. In the second part, there's none of that. There's just none of that. And you never go back to that. It's all somehow there's this beautiful energy flowing up inside of you. And like I said, I once talked to you, and maybe we'll talk to you tonight. You all like the fourth chakra. You all like love, don't you? There are 7 of them. Some say there's 12 beyond the 7 within the body. You're a very, 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 very high being. Why are you struggling? If you're that high and it's that great, why are you hanging out in the first part? And that's the great discussion, because you don't have to. You do not have to live. Baba Muktananda used to hit his mic. He didn't speak much English, but his mic, and he'd say, don't be a beggar. We're beggars, all right. Please love me. Please take care of me. Please let me have finances. Please let me travel where I want to travel. Please give me meaning to my life, etc., etc., etc. You're begging. That's all you're doing all day. You're begging for something to go okay. You're begging for things not to go wrong. Okay? That's no life. You don't want to live like that. That's a silly life to live, considering, one, you're on the most beautiful planet that anything has ever seen. Doesn't mean there's not something else, but we're sure looking for it, aren't we? We got the best telescopes out there. We got everything. We got rovers. And we ain't seen nothing. Not even an amoeba. And I think you're greater than an amoeba. So you're on the finest planet that could ever possibly exist. And you're the most beautiful being that was ever created. So what are you begging for? Why is it like that? So let's do that very quickly. We do it all the time. It's like that because you made it like that. It is not true that anyone else did it. It is not true that anything else did it. You're the only one in there. It's a single occupancy apartment. Only you live in there. Your mother's not living there. Your father's not living there. Your kids don't live in there, do they? You're in there. Therefore, anything going on in there is you. You're doing it. And that's the truth. And that's the deep truth that people just, one, they don't tell you that. They say, well, if you had a traumatic experience when you were young, you'd be traumatized your whole life. That's not true. First of all, what is a traumatic experience? Something has happened that I can't handle. When it came inside of me, the energy was so disturbing, emotionally, mentally, etc., that I couldn't handle that energy. So what do you do with things you can't handle? You try to push them away from you, don't you? You try to keep them at a distance. Freud called it suppression or repression. I just call it resistance. You resist things that come inside that are not comfortable to you. Yes or no? Come on. Okay? You don't understand. When you do that, they stay inside. Okay? There can be a terrible experience that happens to you, but if it's over, why is it not over inside? That's what psychology should be asking, instead of how to teach you how to cope with the fact that it's not over. How to cope with the fact that you had this bad experience and you need to live with it, don't you? No. If your mother did something 35 years ago and she's been dead for 20 years, why are you telling me I have to live with that? It's not there anymore. You are the one that's making it be there, are you not? What do you do when it comes back up? Push it back down. What do you do if somebody says something that hits your stuff? You yell at them. Don't you dare talk to me like that. You know I don't like when you talk to me like that. My father talked to me like that. So cute. In other words, I'm keeping this stuff in here. So you got this stuff in there. You do have stuff in there, don't you? How did it get there? Don't you dare say that somebody else put it there. Yes, events happen. They do. Events happen. There's hurricane, there's storms, there's wars, there's death, there's so many things I can't even label them. Things happen. Correct? But they're over. They're over. Things are over. Nothing has ever stayed. Nothing has ever stayed. Do you understand that? But they're not over inside of you. That's what you need to question. Not why did they happen? Things happen. It's not under your control. Things happen. They've always happened. They've always happened. And they're going to happen. That's all there is to it. They're going to happen. But if they're not happening, why are they still bothering you? That's the deepest question a spiritual person asks. Not, how can I meditate? How can I go to God? What's my pranayama to make me breathe better? What mantra should I use? Fine, go do all that stuff. But until you ask, I don't understand. If it's over outside, why is it still going on inside? Because I'm the only one in there. It's not happening out there. So it must be me. It must be something I'm doing that's keeping that from going away inside of me. And that is the truth. There is something you are doing that's keeping that from going away inside of you. The same thing you did when it happened. You didn't want to experience it, so you kept it at a distance. You pushed it away. You don't push the event away. The event already happened. You push the experience of the event. Everything has energy, correct? It comes in and you experience its vibration. It's nature. Buddhists call it its nature. You feel the thing come inside. You don't want to feel it. You don't want it to come all the way in there. I don't even want it to have happened. Too bad it did happen. No, yes. If it didn't happen, I wouldn't be dealing with it. So it obviously happened. Now the energy of it has come in, and your consciousness, your awareness of being, can't handle it. It doesn't want to deal with it. So what does it do? It uses will. That's what you have in there. Are you helpless in there? Or can you push thoughts around and push emotions around? You do, don't you? Okay, how do you do that? How do you do that? Electromagnetic force? No, you have will. Who has will? You. You who's in there. The self, the consciousness, the awareness of being can focus its awareness on one thing or another, or let it expand out. You can concentrate, etc. When you focus your consciousness on one object, it is equivalent to holding a magnifying glass out in the field where it's just beautiful sunshine. Everybody's standing and having a good time. Take a magnifying glass and hold out that sunshine. You'll burn whatever it's hanging at. Nothing changed. You concentrated the energy that was there. That's what you're doing inside. When something comes inside and it catches your attention, distracts you, focuses your consciousness on it, that is the power of will. You have the ability to coalesce the great power of your being down to a single thought, down to an emotion, down to an event. And when you focus it that way, you give tremendous power. That's what willpower is. Willpower is not mystical. It's not weird. It is the power of consciousness concentrating. What do you do when you want to do a math equation in your head? Multiply 143 times 12. All right, I know you won't do it, but make believe you got a blackboard in there, and you have to concentrate, don't you? What is concentrate? I need to hold the thought in one place. 1403, 12, carry over, all right? You're concentrating, and it makes something stop. It makes the thought stop, because you took the power of your consciousness and focused it there. That is willpower. You use your will to make it stay, and you use your will to push it away. You have will in there, and will is a natural power of consciousness. That's where it comes from. You know, those of you who are scientific oriented know the standard model says there are 4 forces in the universe, period. 4 forces: electromagnetism, gravity, strong nuclear, and weak nuclear. Guess what? They're wrong. Why? Because if I pick up that glass, which one did that? Electromagnetism? Gravity? No, gravity said don't pick it up. The strong nuclear force that holds the atom together, the weak nuclear force that lets radiation fall apart, none of those did it. I did it. I have a power inside, don't I? I can completely overcome all those forces. I just overcame the force of gravity. Didn't I? How? With the power of will. But because it's an inner power, it doesn't fit in the standard model. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's obviously another power, isn't there? It does all kinds of things. That's what will is. I mean, there's wars that go on. Did electromagnetism start the war? Did gravity start the war? Did strong nuclear force start the war? Did weak nuclear force start the war? No. Somebody's will, like Hitler's, right? Somebody's will decided this is where I'm taking the power of my will. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay? So will is a tremendous power, and I've just told you where it comes from. It's not just a word. Consciousness is the strongest power in the whole universe. Consciousness is the most important thing in the whole universe. There's nothing that comes close to the importance of consciousness. What do you mean? If everything's here but nobody's conscious of it, what meaning does it have? None. It has no meaning. No one's aware of it, ever, nothing. You don't know if it's there or not there, nobody knows anything. Okay? But if consciousness is there, and it's aware of a bunch of objects, then it gave meaning to the objects, because it became conscious of them. I always tell you this story, I tell it in the Untethered Soul. You're in a room. You're standing in a room, there's a piano, there's people, there's a party, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Okay? Are you aware that that's going on? Yes. All right? I'm going to take away the piano and all the instruments. Are you aware they're gone? Yes. Okay? So if they weren't who you were, they're not that important because you're still there. Okay? Now I'll take away all the people. Are you aware that people are gone? Consciousness stayed. It stayed when the object of consciousness went away. Now I'll take away the room. And you're there in outer space. Are you aware the room is gone? Your consciousness is still there. You are the consciousness. That's the essence of your being. What's the essence of my being? The part that if it went away, there's no me. If everything else went away, I'm aware it went away. Did everyone understand what I just said? Okay? They talk about soul. The core, the essence of your being is your consciousness. So basically, if you are sitting there and you have consciousness, and you do, someday you're going to find out, when we talk about the higher states, that consciousness is not passive. It has tremendous power, such as the power of will. If you concentrate consciousness, it creates a focus and a power. So what we do with that without realizing it, nobody thinks about this kind of stuff, right? You just do it. You do it. You use your will all the time. You don't think about what it is or where it came from and why I'm using it the way I'm using it. It's just, I don't like what you said. Brr. You use your will, inside or outside. When something happens outside, that when it comes in, it creates enough disturbance, you try to push it away with your will. You push it away. That's a natural instinct. I don't want to feel this. What you don't understand, and they should teach you this, anything you push away stays inside of you. Anything you push away stays inside of you. Anything you have ever pushed away, the tiniest little thing, the fact that mommy gave the bike to sister and not me, the fact that boyfriend walked with somebody else a little too close, every single thing. The fact that somebody said they'd call you at 10 and it's 20 after and you were young in high school and it really hurt you, it's still there. The entire field of psychology is based on the fact that you couldn't handle it. Period. There's no psychology. There's no therapy. There's no anything. If the event happened, the events happened. They didn't call. It wasn't comfortable. Fine. It's over. They called. It's not over though, is it? The first thing you do when they call, why didn't you call? You couldn't handle the fact that they didn't call. So you stored it inside of you, and 3 weeks later, when a person says to you, hey, I'll call you at 10. Yeah, sure. You laughing or you think I'm right? There's not a chance in the world that you don't doubt that call is going to take place. Even though they call all the rest of the times before that one time. So you never thought about it. You didn't handle the situation. You pushed it away, and everything you touch in there, if you touch it, you own it. There is nothing solid inside of you. There's no flypaper, there's no Gorilla Glue, there's no cement. There is nothing solid inside. It's more etheric than air. Everything there passes through the air, doesn't it? Everything. Everything passes through there. Everything. All your thoughts, all your emotions. Doesn't mean you don't experience them, but when they're over, they pass through. Now you're a clean being. You're here now. You're not sitting there storing. If somebody asked you, if you store every single thing that ever bothered you inside of you, what's it going to be like inside? Bothered. And it is, isn't it? That's why. It is not anything the world did. It's not God. It's not this and the other thing. You know, the Bible says you were given free will. Guess what? It's true. But people twist around. I wasn't given free will. I didn't get what I wanted. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean you get what you want. It means you have free will to fight and get upset because you didn't get what you want. That's your free will. You're not the master of the universe, but you are the master inside. There's nobody else inside. Nobody. Just you. But what you do when something comes in that's not comfortable is you push it away. And I'm telling you, if no one ever told you before, please listen. If you touch it, it stays inside. It will come back up, won't it? The tiniest thing. A car cuts you off 3 months ago when you're driving down a road. It's a particular type of car, particular color. You mind your own business driving down the road, you see a car that looks like that. Your heart goes like this. Even though it happened in Gainesville and you're in Boston or Europe. It won't matter, will it? You stored the disturbance inside of you. Therefore, it is going to affect you again. Therefore, by the time you stored enough stuff in there, you're not free at all. Those patterns will say, I don't want to feel this again, so I won't drive down that road. I don't like what it felt like that I said hello to Sally and she didn't say hello back. She's supposed to be my best friend. What's going on? I don't like this. I'm not going to say hello again. It's too painful. You literally structure your life based on the garbage you stored inside. But not just negative. I have to be fair. There's positive things you stored inside. You don't like when I teach this. They cause just as much trouble as the negative ones. Why? Because you try to make them happen again. If you stored inside some really, really nice experience on a vacation, where do you try to pick your next vacation? You're going to take every little thing that you liked, try to make it happen again. So therefore, you're incapable of a new experience. You already have a preconceived notion of what the experience is supposed to be like. Well, before you had that experience, you hadn't had it, and it was spontaneous, and it was wonderful. But now you can't have one again because you're judging it against the thing you stored inside. So anything you store inside destroys your life. What it means to be whole and complete and spiritual and high is it's clean in there. It's clean. Every single experience is new. You're not bringing these old experiences that you're afraid of or that you desire. You're not bringing them into the moment. You're experiencing the new experience of the moment. Every moment's new. But you can't experience them because you're either afraid that something happened before that your story is going to happen, or you're disappointed, or maybe appointed, waiting and anticipating, right? In other words, you're not being here now. You can't be. That's what happens when you push something away. It ruins your life. You say, no, these are the things that will make my life wonderful. I've had them before, and I know I made a list of them. Which ones I want to happen, and if they happen, I'll be wonderful. Well, what happens in the meantime? I'm not so happy, all right? I'm trying to manipulate and control. Here, I had a beautiful relationship in 10th grade with somebody, all right? And it was just a perfect relationship, and then they moved away. Their parents moved them away. It was like the most wonderful, we never fought. And this is what he or she looked like, right? I'm telling you, you're trying to have that experience again for the rest of your life. You're trying to find that person. Not literally that person, but you're trying to find that person. And if you're dating somebody, and so your friend says to you, how you doing? I have a nice relationship. You know what you call it? It's a work in process. What does that mean, it's a work in process? I have a preconceived notion of what will make me happy. That person out there, if they're smart, they'll be that way. Because then I'll be really nice to them. Now you're blushing instead of laughing. You're trying to manipulate what it is that you kept inside of you before that felt good. You're trying to make that person be that. You do it with your dogs. You have a pet that dies. You get another one. Rover was different. He never did that. All right? So I'm telling you, you store your negative experiences. And I don't have to talk about the positive ones. There's so few of them. Right? There are so more negative experiences that you've had. You know, there's a talk I once gave. It's so hard to get these concepts across. Does that mean that the world is more negative? You do have more negative experiences than you understand that. Psychology will definitely tell you that. Freud will be sure to tell you that. You stored more negative stuff. Why? Because anything that bothers you, you store it. And there aren't that many things that happen that blissed you out. So is that true that the world is negative? No. Listen to me. The reason there are more negative experiences in there, because you have defined anything that doesn't match what you want as negative. He slurps his soup. I can't believe it. My uncle used to slurp his soup. I hated the guy. I thought this was a perfect relationship. He's a soup slurper, all right? So that's a negative experience. Why? Because you said so. Not because it is. What if you loved Uncle Charlie and he slurped the soup and he was the most fun thing in the whole world, and you're dating somebody for a while and all of a sudden you notice he slurps the soup? Oh my God, it's the most perfect person. You remind me of Uncle Charlie. Right or wrong? It's not that there are more negative things that happen. It's because you have a very small list of things that you call positive. And the natural unfolding of life is not going to match those. And when it doesn't, you call it negative. It rained yesterday. It was my birthday. Why does it have to rain on my birthday? Okay, nice negative experience. It doesn't know it's your birthday. It did not rain because it's your birthday. You're the one who sat there and said the rain was a negative experience. Was it a negative experience? No, you made it a negative experience. Anybody listening? Please listen, all right? This is as deep as it gets. You understand that? You're out there looking to make life match what won't hurt you or will make you feel good instead of experiencing life. And until you learn to experience life, you will not be okay. You'll get disappointed, you'll get hurt, you'll have negative experiences. You're not having negative experiences. You're having experiences. You're the one who decides whether they're negative, and you're the one who decides whether they're positive. And if it matches what you want, your mind, that's what you do with your mind now. You use your mind to build a concept, a conceptual world based on your past experiences, that if the world is this way, I'm happy. If the world is this way, I'm not happy. And therefore, I want to be happy, so I'm going to manipulate every single person, place, and thing that passes before me to try and make it be the way that makes me happy, and never, ever be the way that make me unhappy. I'll dress accordingly, I'll buy my cars accordingly, buy my house accordingly, I'll take a job accordingly, I'll do whatever I need to do to get it the way I need it to be so it makes me feel good and it doesn't make me feel bad. And therefore, everything's negative because it's not going to match. I've taught you that. I got to do it again once because I don't know whether you get it. Psychology says that you are the sum of your learned experiences. You're not. You're the consciousness that is aware that your psyche is the sum of your learned experiences. It is. You've had experiences. They programmed you. You like a certain kind of music because your father did. You didn't like your father, you hate that music. You're being programmed. You're being programmed by your experiences and how they hit you. And they hit you according to the previous experiences. And it's pretty complicated. But that's what's going on in there. The sum of your learned experiences. And now, based on the sum of your learned experiences, you have developed a self-concept. What do you mean a self-concept? I am the one that likes this, and I'm the one that doesn't like that. That's who I am. I'm the one that this happened to me in 5th grade, and I'm the one that it didn't happen to me. It happened to Jody. And you stored that in there based on experiences, and you developed a you that has preferences, concepts and views and opinions and preferences and hopes and dreams. Those are all mental words. You understand that? They don't exist. Show me a hope. It's in your head. Show me a dream, it's in your head. Show me a preference, it's in your head. Show me a like, a dislike. They don't exist. They don't exist. You project them onto the world. And you did that based upon your past experiences. So now that psyche that you're looking at is the sum of your learned experiences. Just takes me a minute, but I love teaching it. Pretty straightforward, right? Okay. And everybody's different, right? Everybody's different. Because they have all had different experiences. All right? So every single psyche, if somebody tells you, oh, I think exactly like you do, they're lying to you. They can't possibly. No, they cannot possibly think like you do. Because they've had totally different experiences. But we've been dating for 3 months. What about the other 20, 50 years before you met them? And what about when you're not with them? Everybody's having different experiences all the time throughout their life. Therefore, the psyches are different. So yours is this way, based on some of your learned experiences. And what you want is that the moment unfolding in front of you match what you want, don't you? And never, ever matches what you don't want. So now we have yours is the sum of your learned experiences. You're scientists. I treat you like scientists. You don't have to be physicists. You just have to understand basic science. The moment in front of you is the sum of its learned experiences. It's called cause and effect. It's raining today not because it's your birthday. It's raining today because El Nino, La Nina, and the mountains in Europe, the heat of the ocean and Berlin's, right? It's raining today because of meteorology. Everything is that way. He's yelling at you because his mother died yesterday and he's really hurt and blah, 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 blah. Every single thing that's happening in front of you has a history, and it's not your history. That moment out there has nothing to do with you. It has to do with itself. It has to do with all the causes that cause it to be that way. Like I give you an example. You're driving down the road, somebody runs a red light, and you get in an accident. Do you understand how many forces had to be exactly right between time and space for that accident to take place at that moment? If your coffee maker had been faster or slower, you would not have been in that space at that moment. Why the coffee maker? Well, somebody had a fight with their wife the night before, and they didn't solder the thing exactly right. They were pretty PO'd, okay? Therefore, it took 3 years for the solder to break down. Therefore, it took longer to cook. All of that had to be that way. Every single thing had to be that way. Every moment is the sum of its learned experiences. You were not there. And your head is the sum of your learned experiences. What is the probability that that moment unfolding in front of you is going to match what's going on inside your head? 0. 0.00001. Like, who knows? It's ridiculous. If you trace it all the way back, what had to happen, and then trace you all the way back, they have nothing to do with each other. I've taught that in the new book. The moment in front of you has nothing to do with you. It's totally impersonal. If you're standing somewhere on the planet Earth and somebody's yelling, they're not yelling at you. They're just yelling. You happen to be standing there. Well, you say, but I said something. Yeah, but what you said, they didn't hear it right, and they heard it based on what they got going inside their head. And if you had said the same thing yesterday after they won the lottery, they'd be kissing you. And if you say the same thing when yesterday their father or mother died or something like that, right? Then they're hitting you. It has nothing to do with you. It's just forces of creation unfolding in accordance to every single thing that made them be the way they are. There's reasons. If you want to know why things happen, study science. See, spirituality and science are hand in hand. They're like gloves. There is zero dichotomy between science and spirituality. Spirituality is about the truth and science is about the truth. The problem is that you make up your own truth based upon your past experiences, and you want the physical reality world to match it. And if it doesn't, you do all kinds of weird stuff. So once you wake up and you realize, I did this. I made the mess. I'm the one that couldn't handle the experiences that happened throughout my life. So I stored them inside of me. And now I'm trying to manipulate and control everybody and everything so that I can be okay. I'm drowning. You say something I don't like. How do you like it when you think they're a certain way and then all of a sudden they say something you never thought they would ever say? How are you feeling? Because it breaks your model. You developed a model. And then you sit there and say, I can't believe you said that. You shouldn't have said that. Well, the truth of the matter is they should, based on all the experience that made them say it. Based on mommy and daddy and Freud and the rain and the deaths and births and the fact that the doctor said this and that. Based on all the factors, if you took a computer, I hope we never make one. They say, stuff's scary, right? If you take a computer and feed it every experience you ever had, it'll be you. It won't really be you, right? But it will behave accordingly. It will say what you're saying when you're going to say it. It will do all that kind of stuff because it's the sum of its learned experiences. Now, you're greater than that. You're the consciousness that's aware that your psyche is the sum of your learned experiences. You are not the sum of your learned experiences. If I'm looking at that photo over there and I stare at it, I'm not the photo. I'm the one looking at it. You're the one who's looking at your thoughts that are the sum of your learned experiences, that are looking at your emotions that are the sum of your learned experiences. You're not the sum of your learned experiences. Guess what? You were there before the experience happened. Weren't you? That's so deep to ask you questions you don't pay attention to. Are you in there? You sure? Are you in there? Were you in there yesterday? You sure? Were you in there 10 days ago? Were you in there a year ago? You have always been in there. When you were 5 years old, you looked in the mirror. It didn't look like it looks now. You were looking. There's one consciousness. It has always been there. It has no age. It has no gender. It has no likes. It has no dislikes. It has no preferences. It has no hope. It has no dreams. It's just aware. It's a phenomenal thing. Go deep into meditation. You will touch that place. And when you come back, you'll never be the same. You are a very great being staring at something that's not so great. Did you get that yet? Okay? That's why. You're staring at the psyche. You're staring at the stuff that bothered you. You're staring at your self-concept. You made up something based upon those past experiences. So that's why it's not okay in there. It really is okay in there, but you're staring at something that's not. That doesn't mean you're not okay. It means you're staring at it. If I take a light and I shine it on something beautiful, is the light beautiful or is the object it's shining on beautiful? If I move that light over to a broken old moldy thing, did the light get broken and moldy? No. That's where the word transcendent comes from. You are transcendent, above, a different plane, whole nother thing. All right? The light is transcendent to the object it's shining on. Consciousness is transcendent to the object of consciousness. And that includes thoughts, emotions, what you take in from your senses. The whole outer world has nothing to do with who you are. No more than the object the light is shining has anything to do with the light. If the light's shining on an object for 6,000 years, just on that one object, and you moved it off, that 6,000 years had no effect on that light. No impressions were left. The light did not change one single iota. That is true of your consciousness. Consciousness has nothing to do with what it's looking at. It just is looking at it. So, if the truth of the matter is, and we talked about the two different levels that split where spirituality, the whole level of your growth changes, right now you're staring at your stuff. You're staring at your stuff. And you're trying to figure out how to make the world unfolding in front of me match my stuff. The good stuff. And not match the bad stuff. Every single thing you do. But I don't know if I should marry him at this time. That's just what a beautiful question. In other words, I have no idea whether being married to this person is going to make me feel better or not. If God came down and said, all right, listen here, if you marry this person, you'll be the most miserable person for the rest of your life, right? Tough decision? Tough decision now? No, because you care about the effect that the person has on you, because you're not okay. And you want these different decisions and things that you're doing to make you okay. Spirituality does not play that game. True spirituality is not about getting what you want. It's not about attracting what you want, manifesting what you want, getting what you want. It's not about getting what you want. Because what you want is just the sum of your learned experiences. It's the sum of the stuff you couldn't handle, so you stored it inside of you. Not a single one of you that the white lines you pass on the road, whether they're yellow or white or dashed or not, that is affecting your rest of your life. They come in, they pass through. Believe it or not, that's what it's all meant to be. You're not meant to not have experiences. You're meant to have experiences and let them pass through so you can have the next experience. Does that mean I can't remember? You do naturally remember. You have a memory. It's part of your mind. You have a memory. But it isn't a memory of things you couldn't handle. You don't put a tag on it. It rained yesterday. Yeah, it did. Not, oh my God, that was my wedding day and I wanted to have to rain. Okay? You didn't resist it. You didn't fight it. You didn't push the energy away or cling to it because you didn't want to let it go. You didn't do that. So it came in, you experienced it, passed through. Can you bring it back? Of course you can. It's like a computer memory. Bring it back. But it doesn't haunt you for the rest of your life. The difference isn't the memory. The difference is that you couldn't handle the experience. So all the energy of the experience that was meant to feed you and grow and learn, you pushed away. And that energy is always trying to come back. That's what you're going to find out. It's always trying to release. It is not natural. I've told you, the Hoover Dam, whenever they put the darn thing up, I almost said damn thing. All right. The Hoover Dam, whenever they put that thing up, okay, the Colorado River is still trying to flow past that dam. It has never stopped. It will never stop. If they took that dam down, that river would go right back where it used to be. That's the same inside of you. If you use your will to push away the energy of an experience, you have stored that inside of you, and it is always trying to come back up. Well, I don't always feel it. That's what Freud talked about, suppression and repression. You push it down far enough to where it cooks down air. It's like a virus. But I'm telling you, anything you stored. The driver in front of you is driving too slow. And you don't like it. And you go tell everybody about it. Oh my God, 10 miles an hour below speed limit. What's wrong with these people? The more you talk about it, the more it's coming back. Because you put more energy into it instead of letting it pass through. Spirituality is the ability to learn to handle life. Doesn't mean you don't do anything about it. Doesn't mean that if something happens and it's bad or something, that once you've handled it and are at peace with it, you then deal with it. Because then you're dealing with the situation instead of dealing with your inability to handle the situation. Right? It bothered me. I can't handle it. Well, now I don't want to be around with what you do with it. Because you just admitted you can't handle it. You're going to make a mess, aren't you? Don't you make a mess if you can't handle something? You yell at somebody, you do this, you say bad things, you do things. We do all kinds of things because we can't handle the energy. Do you understand that? I can't handle what's going on. Have you ever made a mess in your life? Because you couldn't handle what was going on? Yeah, of course you have. Because if you can't handle it, you just kind of throw energy around to make it change, make it go away. Well, it's not going to go away. It happened. All right? What needs to go away is your blockage to it, your inability to handle it. That's what needs to go away. So if you can handle things, they happen. Doesn't mean they're pleasant. There are things that happen in the world that are not pleasant. You still have to handle them. Why? Because they happened. If they didn't happen yet, by all means, do what you can to help balance things and bring goodness into the world. But if it actually happened, you ain't changing it. It's called reality. It already happened. Now you better handle it, or it's going to make a mess out of you, and you will make a mess out of everything else. And that's that tipping point. I told you, there's a whole level of your spiritual life in which you're trying to get what you want, trying to get a relationship, trying to get this, trying to get money, trying to get things together, trying to make the outside world not bother you so much and maybe sometimes make you feel good. All right? It's terrible. You're a great being. You should not be bothering to live a life like that. When you get to the point where instead of working on the world to match your stuff, you catch on that it's about letting go of your stuff. There, the cat out of the bag. There's nothing holding that stuff in there but you. But it was really hard. I know it was hard. Of course it was hard. You wouldn't have held it in there if it wasn't hard. But you were 3 years old. Now you're 33. I think you could do better. That which you couldn't handle when you were 5, you should be able to handle when you're 55. You're supposed to grow. You learned. You're better at it. Okay? But you don't. It comes back up. You push it back down. You make all kinds of decisions. You make decisions today over the stuff that bothered when you were 5 years old. When your parents got divorced when you were 8, it really hurt. It was terrible. Now you're 38 years old and you don't want to get married. Why? Or if you're married, you don't have children. Why? I ain't putting anyone through what I went through. Whoa, and you think that's high? I'm a very spiritual person. I don't want any children to go through what I had to go through. Because who knows? Maybe we'll get divorced. So no, we're not having children. You're letting the lowest part of your being that couldn't handle what happened when you were 8 years old run your life. There's nothing holding it in there but you. So the spiritual path is about saying, I don't want this stuff in here. That's when you're ready to start working at the second level. Not how do I get what I want in order to be happy. Or how do I avoid what I don't want in order to not be miserable. No. How do I get rid of the stuff that's inside of me that's defining how things need to be for me to be okay? So that I can be open enough and appreciate the rain and appreciate the storm and appreciate that people don't get along so well sometimes and appreciate all kinds of stuff. And then, once I'm appreciating it and honoring it and respecting it, look to see, can I do something to help? But help the situation, not help me, because I can't handle the situation. That's the most selfish thing in the whole world. Okay? You find out that your kid's doing drugs at school, the principal calls. That's terrible. Who wants that? Nobody wants that. Okay, you have to go down there and meet with the principal, and it's embarrassing. It's all right. But this is your reaction. I can't. How could he do that to me? God, I tried to give them everything. Why would he do that? My God, the neighbors, what are they going to say about the things that I brought the kid up, and now we're having all this trouble? Oh, my God. That's not about your child. That's about you. That's all about you. You will never, ever fix the situation if what you're trying to do is fix you. You're trying to fix your inability to handle the situation. That goes for everything. Okay? Your business is having trouble. Oh my God, we're not making money. We're losing the thing, all right? How can I do it now? I face my family, and it's so embarrassing. It's ridiculous. And what will I do? In other words, I can't handle the reality of the situation, so I'm going to make decisions that put it off, that make it look different. People do it all the time. You understand that? Make it look different than it is. I'll still suit up nicely, and whatever it is. You're not dealing with the situation. You're dealing with your inability to handle the situation. It changes completely when you let go of your personal reaction to this stuff and realize, wait a minute, it's not my problem, it's a problem. It's not personal. I need to see what would a centered, clear being do in this situation. Not what would I do, because I can't handle the situation. So you have to transcend yourself. And the bottom root of it is because you stored this stuff inside that you can't handle things. Otherwise, there's just experiences that are happening. They pass through. Nobody said they feel good. There's all kinds of experiences in life, but they still pass through. Are they easy to pass through? No. But when they're over, I understand if you're in a bad experience, it's hard to handle. But it's going to be over. Every single experience is going to be over. When it's over, are you done? No. Nobody. They don't know how to do it. It ruined my life. That divorce ruined my life. Which one? The one I had 15 years ago. Well, did you remarry? Heck no, I'm going to remarry. That was the worst divorce anybody could ever have. I would never even think about having another relationship. In other words, you're still in having the relationship. The relationship is still running your life. It does not have to be like that. It does not have to be like that. I don't care. I know you got a tough story. We all got tough stories. It doesn't matter how tough your story is. It's over. Okay? It happened a long time ago. Let it go. That's what it boils down to. Can you let it go instead of resisting it? That's the difference between what level of spiritual growth you're at. If you're busy resisting it and trying to make everything match what you resisted, you're still going to struggle down here and try to cope with it and try to be okay and be afraid. You're afraid. Try to be afraid things will go wrong. Be afraid blah, 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 blah. All right? Once you get to the point that you realize, wait a minute, it's not about getting what I want, because what I want is based on my junk. How do you decide what you want? You've had past experiences that programmed you. So it's all based on your stuff. You reach the point where you say, wait a minute, I want to clean out in here. If I'm the one who's holding it in here, I don't want to do that. I want to use my will not to manipulate everybody else and everything else. I want to use my will to let go of the garbage I stored inside. And that becomes the second layer. The minute you start saying, it's me, it's not you, it's me. Yes, I can justify you did some things that were not comfortable to me, right? But notice they were not comfortable to me. If I couldn't handle it, have you ever said I can't handle it? That's the essence of the difference in one stage and the other. If you can't handle reality, I can't talk to you. It already happened. I can't make it not happen. The only thing I can do is talk to you about handling it. So spirituality gets to the point where you understand it is all about not storing the stuff inside. If you don't store the stuff inside, you're not weak, you don't have problems, you're not scared, you're just facing the day. Here it is, here comes the day, bring it on. Bring it on. I told you how a spiritual being wakes up in the morning. You ready? No matter what's happening. I'm back! Look, the room is still here. There's a dresser. Here's my bed. Here's my body. Oh boy. I wonder what's going to happen today. It'll be fun. What do you care? You set a little planet for a few years, spin around the middle of nowheres. How in the world can you be so neurotic that you care what happens? Something's going to happen. Go to Mars. See how bored you get in 1 hour. There's nothing there. And here, everything's happening. But you decided what's supposed to happen. Well, you're wrong. Because guess what? What's happening, by definition, is what was supposed to happen. Not moral or right or wrong or good or bad. Just reality. The sum of its learned experiences is what unfolded in front of you, period. All right? So spirituality is about learning how to handle things. Wow. Never looked at it that way. I'm not good at handling things. Of course you're not. I give you the same example every time. I'm sorry. When you sit down at a piano, don't play Beethoven or Mozart if you never played before. When you pick up a tennis racket, don't play Borg or the Williams sisters, because you're not going to do very well. Doesn't mean you can't learn. You don't sit there and say, no, I don't play tennis. I know you don't. No, I don't know how to do a calculus. That's why you're in a calculus class. I don't know how to play the piano. That's why there are things called scales and music teachers. Can you learn? Now, I agree, armadillo can't play the piano, all right? But you can. Possum can't do calculus. But you can. You can learn. Doesn't mean you're an A student. Doesn't mean you're a concert pianist. But you can get better, can't you? How? Practice. Isn't that how you get better? Isn't that what Olympics is all about? Don't they practice? And everybody practice? Instrument sport? Why don't you understand this takes practice? What does? Learning to handle reality. Learning to handle reality takes practice. Well, how do you practice? By doing it the same way you practice anything else. You sit there and say, events are going to happen today. This is how spiritual work wakes up. All right, I'm back. I wonder what will happen today. Whatever it is, it'll be educational. That's what my day is. My day is not making money. My day is not having a relationship. My day is not deciding where I want to go on vacation. My day is not deciding what to do so I don't look old. No. That's not my day. My day is, can I handle the reality that's unfolding in front of me today? I never used to be able to, right? Can I handle the driver in front of me? They did. Imagine, he didn't use his blinker. Nice blinker, buddy. And now let's talk for 10 minutes. How nobody drives properly. They're supposed to be in the right lane when they're going slower. My God, somebody didn't use a blinker on the planet Earth. This is all these cars. What are you doing? I can't handle it. I can't handle the speed they're going. I can't handle that they use their brakes so much. I can't handle they use their blinker. I can't handle I got every light going into town. All kinds of really, really big things I can't handle, right? Therefore, I bother myself about them. Therefore, I'm bothered. And you wake up and you sit there and say, God, it's not about the lights. It's about me. It's not about the driver. It's about me. It's me. I'm doing this. I'm bothering myself. I told you once when I did the interview in the new book with Oprah, Living Untethered, She picked out a line. If I had one line, it'd be that line. The moment in front of you is not bothering you. You're bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. The driver in front of you is not bothering you. The rain is not bothering you. The fact that you spilt some ketchup on your pants and have to go back to work, that's not bothering you. You're bothering yourself about that. How do you know that? Because if you stop bothering yourself about it, it's not a bother. Right? You're doing all of this. So spirituality is about waking up and saying, okay, I need to learn to not do that. I need to learn to stop bothering myself. I'll be less bothered. People rise from all over the world and say, it works. Of course it works. How can it not work? How can it not work that if you're bothering yourself and you stop bothering yourself, you'll stop being bothered? Any chance you have to not bother yourself when you used to bother yourself, you're going to be less bothered and you can have a better day. So you start catching on that that's what your day is about. In fact, that's what your life's about. Earth is a place that souls are sent to evolve. Earth is a place that souls are sent to evolve. You know what trouble they're trying to figure out how to get somebody to Mars? How'd you end up here? It's just a planet, just like Mars. Shh. Will you dare look at it? It's just a planet. It's been in the middle of nowheres. Remember Earthrise, that picture from the moon? Well, I got a picture over there from 2 million miles out that Cassini took on her way to Saturn. Look, that's like a little tiny little star. Okay? How'd you get on that planet? If it's so hard to get to another planet. I guess it's none of your business, but you're here, right? It's a pretty nice planet. Earth is a place that souls are sent to evolve. How about we make it heaven while we're here? How about you clean out so it's nice in there? And you think, if I say that, your mind wants to say, well, if people would behave, it could be nice. No, that's not what I said. Let go of the garbage you've stored in there. It will always be nice in there. Period. It will always be nice in there. You're going to say there's a river of joy, and there is, that flows inside of you. Now we're at the second stage I talked to you about. Why don't I feel that river? Because it's blocked. Same reason you don't feel the Colorado River on the other side of the dam. You're on the other side of the dam you created with your stuff. If you let go of that stuff, see, there's this thing called Shakti, spirit, Shakti, rush of holy waters, call it whatever you want. Every tradition has a name for it. Chi, Shakti, spirit. But what if I did bad things? You didn't do bad things. You watched your psyche do bad things. If you let it go, there's nothing. It has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't matter what you ever did if you can let it go. Otherwise, you carry it with you, and you know by definition it affects the rest of your life. The power is yours. You're a great being. So you learn to let go of this stuff. How? I go through it in great detail in Living Untethered. You start not with the big stuff. You don't start with, I know I caused this trouble and we got divorced and this and I didn't take care of that and I hurt somebody. No, don't start with that. Start with the driver in front of you. Start with the weather. Start with these simple little things. You don't have to bother yourself about the driver in front of you, do you? Okay? If you can pass him, pass him. I'm not saying don't pass him. But if you can't pass, you're going to drive behind him. You have a choice. Drive behind him or her and bother yourself about it, or drive behind him and don't bother yourself about it. Which one you want to do? Let it ruin your day, or just have fun with it. You know, just have a positive affirmation. I told you, I've given you an example. The book goes very deep, the new book, into this stuff. How you can make it fun. Just make it fun. And then what will happen? It will be fun if you make it fun. All right? Then because you let go of some of the stuff, there will be more energy because less is blocked. If you don't put more in there, then other stuff can start coming up. So the basis starts coming up and you'll find, I tell you, you will find that things you couldn't handle before, now you can handle. Why? Because you practiced. Please look at it like a piano. If you practice your scales, you can play Twinkle Twinkle. Wow! All right? Then you can play some other piece, right or wrong. You're going to get better at it. You'll get better at handling reality. You get better not bothering yourself about stuff. Then at some point, something really bigger will happen that used to bother you a lot. And you'll see it, and you'll say, that's that point I talked about to start with. You'll look at it, and you'll say, no, I don't want to go back down. I could, but I don't want to go back down. It's nice up here. If you love somebody, and you feel love, that's really beautiful. Why would you let something they do make you stop feeling love? Like slurping soup. Or not calling, or forgetting the anniversary. Why would you let anything take away that which is so important to you? Because they didn't take it away, you took it away. Do you need to do that? Do you need to trade off this beautiful thing called love because your mind didn't like what somebody did or didn't do? I would never do that. There's no way I'm doing that. Hear me? And so, but now you don't have a choice, because it stops right away. The heart closes, right? Because you have all this stuff in there. It hits your stuff. If the more you let go, I'm telling you, the more there will be this gap between the experience and your reaction to it. All of a sudden, at first it's just a little bit. You get to decide. And then it's really big. And then it's so big. It's like, I'm not going down there. And that this witness is way back there, right? Ramana said it beautifully. He said, at some point, you're standing on a bridge, watching the tumult of the water flow underneath. And every once in a while, it gets so tumultuous, so rough, that a spray comes up and touches you. And your mind says, God, I used to live in that. I used to live in that. I ain't going back into that. Why would you go back into that? All right? And you know what you say? To protect myself. You're feeling love. Somebody does something. No way. I'm not keeping my heart open if they're going to do that. That's crazy. What are you protecting yourself from? Because you just gave it up. I'm protecting myself from getting hurt. Well, you just hurt yourself. Someday you'll get there. And you realize, I ain't trading anything for love. I'm not trading anything for ecstasy, for joy, for rushes of beauty, for God. If I can feel some of that Shakti flowing inside of me, there ain't no one that anyone will do anything. They're going to do anything other than say, I can handle this. The more you let go, the better off you are at letting go. And the more you let go, the higher you get. And the higher you get, the more you let go. That's called the upward ascent, the upward spiral. See it? And you will literally get to the point where you're going to trade it for anything. I'm not trading it off. Period. That's where I want you. And what will happen is just keep getting higher. Keep getting higher. Well, how high can it get? Ha, ha, ha. Yogananda once said, you say you want energy. You all like energy, right? If the amount of energy you're capable of opened up and came into your body, you'd blow up. Right? And I see that more now. It's not that, okay, how do I learn to do that? It's like you need to go out into the energy, not have the energy come down and try to handle it while you're busy being you. You understand that? That's why they say, let go. Let go and let God. As you let go of yourself, the consciousness doesn't get drawn down into the psyche and the body. It still can interact with it, but it doesn't get distracted and drawn down. So the next thing you know is the real energy flow you go into, not it comes into you, because you can't handle it. And that's where the great masters went. That's where I always finish and stop. Meher Baba said it beautifully. My consciousness was like a drop of water staring at me until I let it go. I let me go. And then that drop of water fell into the ocean of consciousness. Find it. Find a drop of water. Go take a drop of water. Try, it's a good experiment. We're doing science. Take a little eyedropper, put some water in it, then go to the ocean and drop one drop in. Find that drop. Will you ever find the drop? No, it merged. Became one. That's what the yogi does. That's what these great states are. That's what Christ meant by my Father and I are one. It's not that you bring it down into you. It's that you stop identifying with what you're staring at. And the next thing you know, that drop falls into the infinite ocean. Now there's all the energy you're capable of, which all the energy. When Yogananda entered the state of cosmic consciousness, he called it, he said, I felt my body was every single galaxy throughout the whole universe. And it was expanding at the speed of light in all directions. That's a lot of energy. That's who you are. That's who you are. And you're down here begging, please like me. Do you like what I wore? You like my lipstick? Do you like my new car? It's like, wow, you are a great being. All right? You're a great being. You just need to be willing to work your way out of yourself. And I just told you how, didn't I? Every minute of every day, you have the right to let go to the best of your ability. And if you can't do it perfectly, it'll come back. You know that. And then you let go of the next piece when it comes up. Just keep letting go of what you can as it comes up. If you will do that, wait till you see what happens to you. All right. And then, okay, I did talk about what I promised. There's this one state where you're being pulled down and fighting to not go down. And you reach the state I just talked about. What I'm telling you is pulling you up. And you have to learn how to let go, but not let go of your stuff. Let go of your resistance to dying to be reborn. Everything Christ taught is everything we just talked about. It starts pulling you up so strong, into the core of your being, but we're used to being separate. We're used to being, I'm a person. No, you're not. You're God descended. My Father and I are one. That's who you are. Jagrative.